Hi everyone, it's Paralympian Jake Templeton here, and in this week's home workout video I have a 6-minute lower body or leg high intensity interval workout. So 40 seconds of work, 5 seconds of rest, and there's 8 exercises. So the first one is running high knees. Now it's actually harder than it looks. It'll get your heart rate up, and the aim here is to try and keep the upper body relatively upright. So try not to arch too much at the back, try not to hunch over too much. Try and stay on the same spot, which I'm clearly struggling with, and just try and lift the knees as high as you possibly can. So this will certainly get the heart rate up, and I've got this exercise repeated again later just to ensure that your heart rate's up. One thing with this, yes, it is a high intensity interval workout, but just make sure that you're exercising to your own levels. Make sure that you're not overdoing it or doing something that is such a increase in your load or your intensity. So that's something you want to avoid. And for more information on how hard you can exercise, make sure you seek professional advice from your doctor. So the second exercise that I've got here is a stiff leg deadlift. So keeping the legs with a soft bend, relatively straight, but with that soft bend, and you're just hinging at the hips. So try and maintain that natural curve in the lower part of your back. And just lower yourself. You don't have to get too horizontal. Just lower until you lose that curve in your lower back. So I've used a ball. You can use something if you wish. You can use a band if you can employ that, but just make sure you've got that slight curve at all times in the lower part of your back, and you'll feel that in your hamstrings. So the back part of your legs, your upper leg, and also your lower back and glutes as well. So here we've just got the reverse lunge. So starting upright, just stepping back one leg at a time. Be mindful of where you are. Try not to have anything behind you so you step on it and hurt your ankle, but just try and keep that train track. So stepping back at about shoulder width, and try and feel that burn. You'll feel the burn in your thighs and most areas in your legs with the reverse lunge. So once again, just you could hold a ball here if you wish. You don't have to hold anything. You'll already have a pretty high heart rate, and with the 5 seconds rest, the heart rate will probably remain elevated, which is the goal here. So the fourth exercise is a squat into a squat jump. So 1 rep of each, and try and keep moving between each. So obviously the squat, try and go for a little bit of depth. Get the knees tracking over the feet. And with the squat jump, you don't have to go too deep. Just try and get that little bit of a counter movement, and then fire straight up and make sure you land with soft knees. So obviously with the squat, again, you want to maintain that natural curve in the lower part of your back, hinging at the hips, sticking the butt out, and try not to hunch over or anything. You can hold a ball here as well while doing the squat and the squat jump. So the squat jump does require a bit of power, and that'll certainly keep your heart rate elevated. So the next exercise, number 5, I've got the high knee running again. It was a real challenge, and it will certainly help to maintain that elevated heart rate, which is the goal here with anything that's high intensity. So I've repeated this exercise again just because it is really great for that. So once again, try and stay on the spot, try and get those high knees going, and really use the arms if you have to, just to try and get the momentum going, and perhaps use a bit more energy if that's what you're after. Excellent job. So 3 exercises left now. So I don't have a kettlebell at home, so I've got the kettlebell swing, but I've got it with a ball. So we'll call it the medicine ball swing. So with that soft bend at the knees, typically you do this with a kettlebell where you bring it down between your legs and use your hips in terms of a hip thrust. You don't want to use the arms too much. You want to get most of that swing and movement from the hips. So thrust at the hips, and that will help to get that ball up to shoulder height. But once again, you don't want to lose that curve in your back. You don't want to round at the back. So try not to go too deep if you don't have to, and be mindful of your back at all times, especially the first rep and the last rep. Quite often the middle reps are okay because you've got a bit of momentum, but the first and last one, especially the last rep, try not to stop too suddenly and jar at the back. So the second last exercise here, we have a sumo squat, so legs quite wide, almost as wide as you can. Toes pointed outwards a little bit too, because the knees will be tracking over the toes. So hinge at the hips, try and stick the butt out, bend at the knees as well, and try and get that butt down to about a chair height, so almost horizontal. I'm perhaps leaning over a little bit too much. I'm quite tight in the lower part of my body, so sometimes when I do these kind of movements, I like to use blocks under my calves, which helps me get a bit better form and a bit more range. So keep that in mind with your situation as well. So the last exercise here, I have split lunge jumps. So I've got 2 isolated jumps to start with. So as you'll see here, I've got 1 jump, that's a pause, another jump, and then a pause, and then 4 in a row. So as you can see, when I'm doing them all in a row, I'm shortening with my range a little bit. So try and, especially when you do those isolated ones, try and get a nice big range, try and get a nice deep jump, but also be mindful of your limits as well there. So this will be a challenging workout. I hope you found it beneficial, especially for the lower part of the body. And for more information, head to my website. I'll put it in the comments. Cheers.